Very good. Good now?
Whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. All right.
Just gotta be on the thing.
Oh.
Well, because you turned it on.
Yeah. So I'll introduce and then.
Okay.
It says it's muted. In 2 seconds, can I make a motion? We're all great.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for coming. Welcome. We've got Martin and Abby today. I'm Professor Heitrick. I teach out of the business faculty department in the business intelligence major, 3 of the final classes in that program. Great classes there. This room is going to host all of the analytical courses or all the presentations today, so feel free to come back. There's several more coming. So again, Abby and Martin are going to give you an idea of how to measure happiness.
So, good morning. As Professor Tychek said here, this is Abigail, I'm Martin, and today we're pretty much doing a linear prediction model on if you are happy or not.
Using multilinear regression, we built this model using true or more response variables and creating a relationship between variables. Independent variables are associated with dependent variable, which would be happiness.
So within multilinear regression, there's a thing called R squared, and basically that's your explained variable over your total variation. So this is always between 0 and 100%. In regards to 0%, it basically says there's no variability within this model, and 100% means that the variability is closest around the mean. R squared within this model is 24%. Now that may be low. That's basically because of imprecise predictions coming from this model. Along with that, you can't really determine R squared whether the predictions are precise enough for a particular need. So this is a little bit of an example of our model here. As you can see, Alex here is basically the happiest person alive. I don't know how, but we use these variables up here, and it's based on a random generator from like 0 to 1, essentially. And this is a binary system, so 0 and 1s. So we use variables and coefficients. So these variables with high coefficients, you enjoy watching movies, I'm sure most of you essentially do. These are green coefficients, as if you go back to here. So I live a healthy lifestyle here, I enjoy watching movies. These individuals with these characteristics are more likely to be happy. And as you can see, this is a picture from when I was 13 years old. I'm a pretty happy kid. Now I'm kind of miserable according to the model. But variables with low coefficients, I fall for someone quickly and lose interest fast. These are in the red. And these individuals, as my buddy here, Judy, had to sign a consent form, he looks like a stone cold killer because he just is not that happy right now. So basically, this is how this model essentially works in this case.
Again, we're using predictive analytics to make this model. So we're using an algorithm and machine learning techniques to identify the likelihood of future outcomes based on historical data. So you're taking that historical data, go beyond that to predict what is going to happen in the future.
So why use predictive analytics? Well, organizations use predictive analytics to gain a little bit of competitive advantage and increase your bottom line. Essentially what bottom line means is like your net profit. Common uses are for fraud detection, optimization of marketing campaigns, improving operations, and reducing risk. So industries using predictive analytics, for myself, I'm a finance major as well, so financial and banking, they use it to detect fraud, measure credit risk, and retain customers. Retail, they use to determine which products to stock, and if their promotional events are working. Energy companies, if machines need to be fixed at a certain time, they can predict that. And manufacturing, it helps reduce reduce quality and production failures while optimizing parts, resources, and distribution.
So what we did was created a model to predict the happiness of an individual based on a series of characteristics, which we took from a different model that predicted happiness in Scandinavia.
So the business application side of this is it's assess the happiness of your employees. The benefits of happier employees are more productivity, close more sales, better leaders, more job security, and essentially make not only more money for them, but also for your company as well. And the company as a whole has more success and it could increase innovation. And we do this by developing our employee profile.
The variables that we used forecasted if an employee was happy or not, or a person. Independent variables are again the characteristics, and the dependent variable is if a person is happy or not. Marty mentioned that we used a binary system, which is a series of ones and zeros, to signify yes or no, and then happy as 1 or not happy as 0.
So the purpose, basically, you value this model comes from determining which variables define an employee's happiness instead of determining which percentage of employees are actually happy. One thing we found within this model is basically it can be a little biased. You can be a little bit biased to yourself and to yourself. So Abby and I actually ran this model a little bit earlier this morning, and my happiness was a 48%, while it went down to about 24 according to her, so there's no bias in there. But an individual can be more biased with oneself, so if you have somebody else take this test, it might be a little bit more realistic because of the non-biased activity that's going on within yourself. So we'll show you the model here. It's pretty simple. This is the friend test. We had Landon, Jared, Landon's girlfriend Alex, and Ryan Charco take part in this activity. So as previously stated, you have your variables up here and the amount they have. And then the ones and zeros, as Abby once said, the binary system we use. The ones are indicating a yes, zeros indicating a no, and then at the end basically brings you to a percentage. And Alex here has the highest and Jared's the second highest, a little bit of 54s. One thing that we did also learn from this model is the fact that these variables could be changed. There might be too skewed. As it says in there, I enjoy listening to music as a negative. I mean, you could be upset and listen to music, or you could be the happiest person in the world and listen to music. So there's a little bit different, I would say, more bias towards that question as well. These questions could be changed up. And basically, we think it's a pretty good model. I mean, I wouldn't say it's great, but I'm not that happy of a person, so I'm kind of pissed about that.
The model also, again, helps to determine which variables actually predict happiness and not just predicting your level of happiness as well.
And just everybody gets a 1 intercept. That's just a common thing that is common within this model. So, oh yeah. So we also did true positive test, true positive, false negative, basically seeing which coefficients align to which, and you want more true positives and false negatives, and you want in the middle too. And Abby will talk a little bit about that.
It's just, I mean, it's helping to assess the actual accuracy of the model. So you want as many true positives, so people saying they're happy and actually being happy, or being not happy and actually being not happy, so the true positives and false negatives. The higher those are, the more accurate your model is. And we also tested it at a 0.5, a 0.55, a 0.6, or a 0.75 level of accuracy. You can choose that based on your company's scope and how accurate you actually want your model.
And we found that the best test was ran at 0.50. So.
Yeah.
Any questions? I knew it. All right.
Softball here. I saw you scroll past all of those columns pretty quickly.
Yeah, sure.
You don't have to show me or tell me all the different variables you use as predictors, but just which of those variables did you find had the strongest correlation with? You said music might not be the best one,
right?
But is having a lot of friends more important to happiness than going shopping?
Myself, I'd rather have a lot of money than friends. I mean, But what we did find though is it's a little bit skewed. So when you look at the male and female here, males, it says here males are generally more happy than females. And within our model, we did Abby here, and we also did Alex, and it came to the fact that that is completely false. The females were mostly more happy than guys. I don't know why, but it doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I think the one that we had the most trouble with was I enjoy listening to music, but one that was a little bit staggering here was the I would rather have more friends than money, because a lot of people said no. Like within our friends model, they said no, they'd rather have more friends than money. So it was a little bit different. So yeah, that works. Yeah. So that was good. But I mean, I'd rather have more. I mean, this is just me. So obviously, I have a bias,
right?
Right.
Cold-hearted, I get it.
Yeah. Right. You know, credit and all that good
We
stuff.
put kind of like a conditional formatting, so the red shows which variables would indicate unhappiness, and then the green would be which ones show happiness.
Mary?
So, did you ask people these questions on more than one occasion? Because somebody, like, there could be outside factors that affect these. So, if somebody's having a bad day, they might answer differently than if they're having a good day. Or did you just ask them one time?
No, so what we did here is when we went to, we'll go to the friends test here. So Landon, we asked Landon one day and then we asked him the next day. He was pretty consistent with the 54%. Then we had Alex go, and she was at this one was 126 right here. But then we had Landon do it as well. And basically her percentage went up about 10% more with somebody else taking it. Abby took one for myself, and I feel pretty good this morning. Like, I'm happy to be here, right? And I was actually, 24% happy this morning when she took it. So I think it does based on the day in which you're going. I mean,
And who takes it for you?
right. So I mean, we could do you right now if you wanna do this. We can see how happy you are.
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Just saying. I know you had morning workouts today, but
I heard that they're up.
yeah. Dylan, you got any questions back there?
No.
No?
How can you have a happiness predictor of over 100%?
I mean, you're just the happiest person in the world, like I said before. Basically, we did the sum product of everything based on our variables and the model coefficients over here, and then sum product it for this. And we were going to do an exponential one, but it kind of really changed the appearance of it.
Yeah.
So
I know if you do, if you do a log model, that actually puts the variables between 0 and 100%.
right.
Because if you do a linear, you could take it all outside.
Yeah. So yeah, it's something we can definitely take into consideration for this as well. So thank you.
Any additional variables that might add strength to your model? You know, music's important, movies important, money's of course important, friends important. Anything else that, if you could get the data from these folks, from these participants, would add strength?
We took, from that data set, like I said, about happiness from Scandinavia, we took more characteristic stuff, so we could do more about demographics, religion, actual hobbies that you enjoy and stuff like that. But this was just a set of characteristics that we decided to take into consideration first.
And along with what Abby said, we could definitely add more variables that could probably make this model a lot stronger, or we could take away some variables that may not be very clear. So spending habits, what does that essentially mean? Do I like spending money? No, but does it make me happy sometimes? Yeah. So.
And if you also want to make it more applicable to business, you can talk about when your last raise was, you know, your promotion, your income level, how many hours you spend per week. Depends on your specific application for it.
We talked about that music question. So you know when I come on campus because heavy metal is blasting, and I'm very happy. But other people with heavy metal might be angry at the world, or that kind of a mode, like, you know, that kind of thing for process. So as you were saying, you do a cross-sectional study. There's lots of trials and things like that to weed out those things.
Anyone else?
Anything else?
Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
We'll stay on actually.
Is there
Oh, Finkelstein, yeah.
How is it?
so, very,
There might be one in certain
Yeah.
there might go up. Yeah.
come on,